The Hudson Finance Committee meeting. First item on the agenda is to consider minutes of the past meetings.
Move for approval if no corrections.
Second. Any discussion, any changes, any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Consider claims, $740,237.21.
I'll move for approval for the amount of $740,237.21, but I do have a question.
I'll second.
Looking through those, is it possible to shop local, or is it just something that we get better deals on? In particular, CarQuest jumped out at me when we have an O'Reilly store here.
That's something that we don't have a shop local mandate, but we could, with that 2% difference. I know that there are, other, and I don't think they shop at, the Napa store. I don't think we get any particular discount from them, so we can encourage that.
And I also am aware of an issue that we had about not paying a bill where one of our departments could not purchase tires because the bill wasn't paid up. Is there an issue with our lacking, or we're not paying bills on time, or?
I'm not aware of that. About it. If they're turned in, some of the issues are getting things turned in on a timely basis.
Right, if we don't get the bill from the department,
in particular,
we can't pay it then.
It's tires for squad cars.
It's first we've heard about it, but we can check on it.
I can look into that.
Yeah. That's kind of something they kind of need for safety, obviously.
Sure.
But
and
if the invoice doesn't get to us, then...
But what I'm saying is the bigger overall picture is we should not be lacking on paying these bills.
Well,
but what I'm hearing is...
Well, if we don't get the invoice from the department, we can't pay it.
I'm saying that to you so you can disseminate.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's not it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, in theory, if you look at it, if we're using the purchase order system properly, the invoice should not even get to the department. If they've issued a purchase order and the invoice comes into finance, and we can match it up with the purchase order, we should pay it immediately.
Right.
And my sense is that the invoice wasn't sent to us on a timely basis, but we'll certainly check that out.
Okay.
And I guess, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like something that should go right to admin or to
well,
finance,
sure.
right? I mean, I don't know.
I just
why a call wouldn't be made.
We should be able to be getting our stuff when we expect it. I guess the overall question was there a problem with our money flow, cash flow?
There's no cash flow problem whatsoever. It's if there's a problem, it's getting the invoices approved on a timely basis from departments.
We also have departments that don't, they wait until they get a statement, which they shouldn't be doing, and they've been told that time and time again, if you get an invoice, get it to us, we'll pay it. Don't wait for the statement.
Yeah, by the time they get us, you're right.
Only do statements quarterly. Well, if that's the case, I could see there, and we've been trying to get them to do that, but.
Well, duly noted. I just wanted to answer
Sure.
the question.
Any other discussion? All right. The claims have been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, roll call.
Yeah, you should actually do a roll call.
Roll call.
Bernard, Morissette,
Yes.
Vanslo.
Yes. Next item is consider operators licenses. We have operators licenses for the period of 8/6/13 to 6/30/15 for Dawn Franklin Erickson, Barbara Biseth, Bryony Eggenberger, Joseph Opseth, Condra Waldroff, Thomas Thorstead, Mark Broker, Brittany Dunlop, Matthew Ellie, and Catherine Zimmer, and Nana Schulberg.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We also have the issuance of operators license, temporary operators licenses to be used September 28th, 29th, 2013 at the Spirit of the St. Croix Art Festival in Lakefront Park for Kimber Heineman, Andrea Jorgensen, Mary Weller, and Ronald Ray. Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider application for taxi cab driver's licenses. driver's license for Dennis Lynn Bradford.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider application for temporary Class B retailer's license for Hudson Area Chamber of Commerce, Spirit of the St. Croix Art Festival. This is something we do every year.
I'll move we approve.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Aye. Consider special event permit application from the Hudson Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau for Spirit of St. Croix Art Festival. This is, I believe, so they can lower their liability insurance and come down to the $1 million mark. Staff recommendation is to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider request to amend the alcohol premises description at 517 Second Street, Trio Group LLC, DBA Stone Tap.
I'll move for approval on staff recommendation.
Yeah, I guess all we're doing here is picking up the cellar there where he wants to store additional liquor. Is that what this is for? Yeah. Okay. You had a move to approve, Andy?
Yes.
Okay. I'll second it. Any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider updating fee schedule regarding Chapter 221 pedal cab licensing fees. Licensing fee we recommended for $100 for a pedal cab license, $25 for each additional cab, and $10 for a pedal cab driver's license.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I do have a question. It might not be germane to this, but the alcohol issue with these, is that a separate issue?
Alcohol, I don't know that.
Well, I know there's nothing currently
Oh,
established.
well, it is a separate, you mean regarding the ordinance and
Yeah.
regulations for
Yeah.
pedal cab? Yeah, it is a separate issue.
All right, I'll hold it for next.
And maybe put it on a future agenda.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider bids for purchase of the 2013 wheel loader. The bids were put out and received, were opened on Thursday, July 25th. There were 3 bids that were received, one for $178,950, one for $179,000, and one for $185,900. The trade-in values were $25,000, $26,000, and $24,000. Staff recommendation is to accept the Miller Bradford bid of $178,950 with a trade-in value of $25,000 for a net purchase of $153,950.
You know, and Tom can add something if he'd like to, but this really came down to a question of which of these best met our needs and best met specifications, even though once you, figure in the trade-in value, the Volvo would actually be $950 less. It was really a question of which best met the department's needs, and it was the case. So it was unanimous coming out of Public Works. And I'd move for approval of its purchase.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving final appropriations for 2013 capital budget. This is a result of the July 15th meeting where the council took action to approve a 5-year financial plan that would provide for additional debt to fund capital projects and would require the local tax levy to increase to the 5.25 mils in order to service the new debt. The plan calls for borrowing $5.3 million as the primary source of funding for 2013 and 2014 capital projects. Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions, any discussions on this? These are the items we covered at the July 15th meeting, so.
Right, we
none of
covered
this
them
is new.
at July 15, and what, so that these projects, in addition to the 930 that were approved earlier in the year, would constitute our capital program for 2013. And then I think, as we discussed at the last Finance Committee meeting, as a part of the budget discussion, we'll try to accelerate the discussion on 2014.
Neil, we had talked at that Public Works meeting, or whichever meeting we had, for that blacktop trailer.
Yes.
Is that a fixed asset we can't use on this, or is that what we're going out?
That is one we could potentially use some of these funds for. You know, when you look at it, I mean, part of it would come from potentially the funds we don't have on the wheel loader. I think some of the other bids that are coming in, may be able to free up some additional money within here, but those are the type of things that you would finance with, with the 10-year notes.
I didn't see that on the
No,
agenda.
Tom, it was on there and Tom pulled it off because they were getting some more information on it.
Okay. Well, we had asked that it come to this meeting, so,
Right, Tom asked that it be pulled off. Because he wasn't ready to bring a recommendation back.
all right. Thanks, Neil.
You're welcome.
Move to approve?
Second, did we do that?
Yes.
Do we do that? Rick?
You have not voted.
No, we have not voted. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider awarding bid for 2013 street improvement project. Bids were sent out for the 2013 street improvement projects, and there was actually only one bid that was returned, and that bid was from Monarch Paving Company, and staff is recommending approval of Monarch as the contractor for this bid. Karen's here to make some comments.
Yes, I do have some comments and recommendations to make. If you look in my letter, I didn't recommend if we should award all the alternates 1 through 6, because we wanted to talk with different departments and see what they had to say, see if they had the financing. As you know, Buckeye Street was originally supposed to be a mill and overlay. And when we went out there and did the preliminary field investigation, it was decided that Buckeye Street should be a reconstruction. Well, that meant that we had to talk to the water department, because the water main in that street is from 1880. So it was best if that water main was removed and replaced at the time we're doing the reconstruction. And the bids did come in, and on alternate 6, you can see that the water department has a significant amount to be going towards Buckeye Street. At this time, they don't have it budgeted. So I would recommend that we do not award alternate 6, and that we move that to the 2014 street improvement project. And then secondly, alternate 4, St. Croix and 2nd Street, that was not on the original plan for a mill and overlay, but when we were out there looking at street maintenance, we decided that that should be a mill and overlay instead of a street maintenance project, and would best fit on this project. And in addition, the water department wanted some work done on 3 valves that are at that intersection. And once again, there's a significant cost for the water department at St. Croix and 2nd Street, funding that they don't have budgeted at this time, but they will put it in for their 2014 budget. So we're recommending that alternate 4 is not awarded at this time. So our recommendation would be for Monarch, the base bid, and then do alternate 1, 2, 3, and 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 5. And if my math is correct, that would be a total of $1,513,533.10.
Karen, a question. Would this, well, 2 questions. Would this free up more time for them to complete these projects?
No, that's still going to be a tough. The Buckeye Street was supposed to be completed in 2014 anyways. And then 2nd and St. Croix had very minimal curb work. But Randy, talking about this now, it possibly could, because there was a lot of work to do at 2nd and St. Croix with those 3 gates. They had to remove 3 gate valves and put in new gate valves, and then do some water service work.
Okay.
So that potentially could speed up or
Oh.
give them some time to do more work.
Okay, my second question was on alternate three. I had 2 calls today from constituents on Crestview,
Yes,
and I believe Tom or you have been made aware of the washout on the south side of the
coming
of Crest-
around the hill.
coming around the bend.
Yeah, Tom did receive that phone call, and we did look at it, and looking at some possible ideas, maybe with a bituminous swale or bituminous curb. The area does sheet drain towards the south to the pond number 5.
Yep.
If I have the right one.
Yep.
So there is some area that it does come down, but most of it is sheet draining, so we can work on fixing that erosion problem.
I'd like to make sure that does. I don't want it to get lost in translation because it is a hazard up there right now.
Right,
So as long as you've got it on your mind, a change order may not be needed
correct.
on that bid because it'll.
Well, we might need a change order, but it'd be fine after we award the project, then we can do a change order to do some bituminous work or bituminous swale at that location.
Will you please make a note of that?
Yes, we
Thanks.
can do that.
Okay, thanks, Karen. So the new total is $1,513,533.10, and we're eliminating number 4 and number 6 from the bid, and planning it for 2014 so that we can coordinate the work with the water department.
I'll move for approval for $1,533,533.10.
Isn't it 1,313,000?
I believe it was 1,513, 1,513,533.
Oh, yeah, yep.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion?
Do you want to just specify the alternates
Yeah.
that you're including? Just
One,
Okay,
two.
and the bid will include alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 1, which is O'Keefe Road, alternate 2, First Street and Boat Ramp, alternate 3, Crestview Drive, and alternate 5, St. Croix Street at 10th Street. Those would be the alternates that we are including in the bid.
Yes.
Yeah,
As a-
yes, I knew that's what you meant, but now it's listed in the motion, so
Okay.
we'll be clear.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 913, resolution providing for the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2013A, in the maximum principal amount of $3,490,000.
We have Sean Lenz from Ellers here if we have any questions.
Sure.
Do you want me to go through the reports at this time, Neil?
Rich?
Whatever you guys would like is fine.
Would you like to hear the reports? Sure. Yes, please.
Okay, does everybody have the 2 pre-sale reports? Otherwise, I've got copies of those. We do not.
No, they don't.
No, they're the same. The other one's coming the other way. They're all the same. You and I are all the same. The other one's coming the other way.
Yeah, they do look very similar, but there's a Series A and a Series B report. And all of the forthcoming resolutions come out of the 2 reports, so I'll highlight those as we move through. Those are extras, okay.
Needs a-
Yeah, I'll grab one from Mary.
Okay.
Okay. Supposed to have 2 of them?
Yeah, there's 2, and the one I'll start with is the $3,490,000 general obligation bonds, Series 2013A. Neil alluded to earlier the 5-year plan, and we'd been working on that for some time. At your last meeting, I know you had discussions about the targeted total mill rate, and then also the capital projects that would be encompassed within that. The financing plan that we're talking about tonight includes many of the projects that you were just discussing, as well as 2014 projects that would be put into these two financings set to move forward starting this evening. I'd like to start with the $3,490,000 general obligation bonds. And if I can have everybody go to Exhibit 1. Neil and Devin had provided us the capital project financing list. And on that list are projects, wide-ranging projects all throughout different city departments. So we've got parks, equipment, buildings, streetlights, storm sewer, all included. The first issue, the bond issue, is targeted to the parks, streets, and police facility rehab, which is primarily, I believe, roof and HVAC improvements to that building. All of those projects have a longer useful life, and in looking at the layout of the projects and the projects the city intended to do, and the state authorization for different types of projects, the best fit for that was a 20-year bond issue. And that's what you see before you on Exhibit number 1, is the proposed $3,490,000 general obligation bond issue that would finance those projects, the parks, a lot of the streets projects, not all of them. Some of the street projects have, I think, more of the crack filling, a shorter useful life, and those are in the notes. But a majority of the street projects, as well as that public safety building improvements on the roof and the HVAC. The financing is expected to be paid back over a 20-year period, would have fixed interest rates, and the interest rates you see here are about 25 to 30 basis points above a sale we had recently for a similar rated issuer like Hudson. Hudson is a AA2 rating. AAA is the best, AA1 and AA2. So these rates are that we are showing in Exhibit 1 are conservative given current market conditions. The sale, though, is out into September, at your second meeting in September. That would be the point that the final bid, after a competitive bidding process, would be back before the council. Now, if we go over to Exhibit 2, this is a chart looking at when we complete the entire finance plan, which is the bonds and promissory notes that I'll talk about in a second, where we're expecting the overall impact to be on the city's debt levy. So in blue on Exhibit 2 is the existing debt. In red is the proposed new debt, which again is the bonds we're talking about now, and we'll talk about the notes here in a second. What we're expecting is that the levy will go up from about $1.3 million to about $1.8 million each year for payments of principal and interest, and the mill rate will go up from about 0.9 to about 1.2, right in that range. So about a 0.30 mill rate increase. And then you'll see over time, primarily starting in 2019 and thereafter, the total indebtedness that the city has falls off dramatically. But that being said, as we have talked about with the 5-year plan, there are other projects that will be coming. I think we're looking, Neil, at kind of a every 2-year process.
Correct.
Moving forward, where that'll be added in the future. Okay. Now, if we go over to Exhibit 3, the other item I wanted to update for the committee and then ultimately for the council, this is a chart looking at the city's total use of general obligation borrowing capacity. On the top of the page, you'll see a red line. That is the borrowing capacity using general obligation debt available to the city. So it's about $70 million. What you will have used following the proposed issuance of these bonds and notes is about $14 million. So you've got about $56 million. So this is a tool that the city of Hudson has used very, very conservatively over the year, and is not a problem in terms of other capacity should you have other projects that come forward you need to use GO debt for. Okay. If I may then, I would move to the second handout, which is the promissory notes. Now, as I mentioned, that entire project list, there were a select group of projects that did not fit under the statutory authority for bonds, and those also happen to be projects that primarily have a shorter useful life, 10 years or less. And the plan is for those projects to be financed with a 10-year general obligation promissory note that is expected to be in the amount of $2,925,000. And if I can have everybody go to Exhibit 1 on this sheet, again, we used the same interest rates as the previous Exhibit 1 for the bond issue. The credit, the AA2 rated general obligation credit is the same notes or bonds, no difference there. What I wanted to point out here, though, is we've got about $1,890,000 in projects that we intend to finance with the note issue that are 2013 and 14 capital projects, but also in reviewing the city's existing indebtedness, the 2007 promissory notes are callable or refundable beginning December 1st of this year in 2013. And if you look at the right side of the page on Exhibit 1, you'll see a column there for refunding 2007 debt that is outstanding. We propose to do that because it makes sense in terms of saving dollars. And if you actually will go forward to Exhibit 2, the concept is to include the refinancing of the 2007 issue as a part of the 2013 note issue. We would not be extending the term of repayment on the 2007 issue. Would continue to be paid back over the next 3 years, 2014, 15, and 16. And the estimate with the interest rates that we used here, which are conservative at this point, was it would save somewhere over $23,000 in less interest costs by including it and refinancing it. So the note issue, again, would be a combination of new money projects in 13 and 14 with a useful life of 10 years or less, coupled with a current refinancing of the outstanding 2014, 15, and 16 payments on the 2007 notes that had already been issued. Now, the sale process would be at your meeting on September 16th. We would come back with proposals for the two issues. Those would be reported to the council at that time, and at that point you would lock into the winning bid if the committee and the council are happy with the results of the sale. In between, we will be preparing the official statement, putting together all the documentation for the sale, and working with the city, primarily Devin and Neil, on updating and renewing the city's bond rating, which is a little over 2 years old. So that'll all be a part of the process. What's needed tonight is on the bond issue. There's a host of, I think, 5 resolutions that start the authorization process for the issuance of the bonds, and then there's a single resolution for moving forward on the issuance of the notes. Those would need approval by, well, recommendation by the committee and then approval by the council tonight to start the process, all geared toward having that those 2 competitive sales on September 16th, I believe, is the meeting date. But if there's any questions that the council has, I'd be happy to, or excuse me, the committee has, be happy to answer those before taking any action on the resolutions.
I just have a question on the $3,490,000. According to Exhibit 3, or I'm sorry, Exhibit 2, it would show that we would be able to reduce the mill rate by 2020, if I'm reading that correctly. Because the current mill rate, according to this, is about 0.9. Contributing to the debt is 0.9.
Correct. Right for this year, for 2013, it's 0.96. That's
Okay.
the mill rate for debt.
Okay, and then in the year 2020, that could potentially drop to about, looks like 6.5 or something like that.
If there's no additional.
If there's no additional debt that the city lets,
Yep.
there would be the opportunity to reduce the mill rate in 2020. Assuming there's no additional debt.
That's correct. We're expecting it to go up to about 1.28
Okay.
with the two new issues, and including the refinancing. And then, as you said, over time, it kind of stays at that level for a couple years. Without any new debt, it starts going down significantly. As you mentioned, that 2020, I think it's at about a 0.6 level.
Yep.
At that point.
Yeah, I think when we talked about the financial plan, the kind of level of tolerance was 5.25 mils in total. So right now, we're at 4.6. This would bump us up to 4.9, so that the other financings, will get us ultimately, with 2015 and probably 2017, where those numbers would be added on, where you'd start creeping up to that 5.25 level.
The other piece to note too is, and I don't know, Neil, if you and Devin received that, but the state did provide the equalized values very late last week, and I think Hudson went from 1.4 billion to about 1,460,000 or something like that. So I think it went up about 4% in that range, which is good. I mean, the last couple of years, I think we fluctuated, slight declines, very small growth. So hopefully the trend would be upward, and that would also help with the mill rate too, should that sort of trend continue in the future.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that.
The challenge to future councils, of course, is to not let this become the new normal.
So that it's not forever.
That's the danger, you know.
That certainly is the danger. Okay, I don't know that we've had a motion yet to approve this. or-
I'll move we approve staff recommendation to full council.
A second.
Here, Kathy, do they have to approve each individual?
Well, I think for the committee, the recommendation is approving all the proposed resolutions. At the council, you'll need to do each resolution separately.
So we can lump these together for our
Yes, I
finance
think for
committee?
the committee recommendation to council.
So we'll probably have to do the 2.925 separate because it's a separate issue?
On the staff recommendation, yes. 9 through 13 should be one motion, and then 14 would be a separate motion.
All right, so
14-13?
Yeah, 14-13.
On finance, right.
And
Yes.
finance, yeah. So, yeah, 12 through
Nine-
16?
12 through 16.
12 through
on
16 would
finance.
be
Item numbers,
finance
right.
motion for approval.
Oh, you're looking at the
Item
item number.
Resolution 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
I'm just going off of what the right,
Yeah.
so what do you want?
Okay, we're doing the resolutions and I'm doing the agenda items.
Right.
Okay, that's where I'm
So
different.
you'll need one resolution,
All right,
one
13.
motion for 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13,
Yep,
and then one motion for
All right,
14.
move to approve resolutions 9, 13, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
okay, do we need a roll call for this?
No,
No,
it's just a
just a-
recommendation.
just-
The council
okay.
will actually approve the resolution.
Okay, so there's a motion,
I'll second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So that brings us down to, we just have to approve
You
the,
want to do 14?
have to do
14,
13,
yeah.
have a recommendation on that.
okay, now we're down to 14-13 for a
Move to
$2,925,000
approve.
of general obligation notes.
Move to approve resolution 1413 for council recommendation.
Second.
Any further discussion of that item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Items for future agendas.
Yeah, I think we're too early to talk about that issue, but
Yeah.
bike pedaling, the
Oh,
pedal
that
cab,
you can put, yeah, you want to do something with the ordinance?
we don't have one. Or we got a new one, but it doesn't have anything with alcohol.
I don't think state law allows alcohol on
Well,
pedal
that's where my
Right.
question is coming up,
So put it on a future council agenda, I would think. to
just council,
discuss.
because, well, with, all right.
So your question is alcohol and pedal cabs?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any other items?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.